Hi everybody. So this is our next installment of juicers and the difference between the juicers. So we've been talking a lot about the different kinds. We talked about the centrifugal juicers. There are a couple of other things that go into juicers. There's another class called masticating juicers, and those come in basically a single gear and a twin gear. And there's some other things that go along with that, but I wanted to cover some really basic things because people have been asking me, why use a high-speed juicer versus using a slow juicer, and what's the real difference between them? Well, the real differences between them are the quality of juice that they render. Unfortunately, most of us don't have a lot of time to spend with the juicer and doing some things. Some things require us to kind of get moving. Sometimes what I suggest to people is that if they need to have their juice ready beforehand, you can make your juice ahead of time and then have it ready for the next day when you need to get up. I would suggest that when you use juice, or you make juice, that you try to use it within a day or two. That is, from if I make it this morning, for example, I don't want to try and take it out to 3 days from now. I'd like to eat it. I'd like to drink it between today and tomorrow. Today, if I can. Depends on how much juice you're doing too, and if you're using cleansing juices, or if you're having if you're using them for nutritional support, or whatever the case might be. Juices have a lot of different types of there are a lot of things that juices can do for you. Some juices are meant to detox you, some are meant to feed you and nourish you. Other juices are made to give you energy, power you up, strengthen your immune system. You can get all of that stuff from vegetables, and a lot of people don't really understand that. As you're stepping into a whole food, plant-based diet, one little step at a time. And I always say, and I'm gonna say it again and again, add, don't subtract. Add a little bit every day. The more that you add the good things, the less room there is for the other things. And as you start to add those things, you'll find that they starts to gradually push things out. So in this particular case, we're talking about a masticating juicer, and what we're going to be looking at is an Omega Vert today. And these Omega Verts are really kind of cool. They're very slow. That is, they turn at about 80 RPMs, where some of the other ones turn at about 6,000 to 11,000 RPMs. I'm not going to spend a lot of time getting into too much of this, but we're going to talk about them, real basically. This particular machine has an ejection chute here, has the juice dispenser here. Basically, it has, comparably, this has a very small chute compared to like some of these centrifugal juicers. It's a pretty small opening, this one right here. So you have to do a little bit more work to get the fruit and stuff and the vegetables in there. But this juicer cranks out a very, very dry pulp. That is, the piston inside of this thing is built in such a way that it basically is going to grind down the juice out of this stuff. So if you see, it's kind of fat at the bottom. So this creates a lot of torque, and it basically just grounds all of the juice out of there. These are kind of interesting. These juicers, they call them automated cleaning. This secondary port piece right here is bristled with some silicone brushes that actually brush the screen as it's going through. So this makes it a lot easier for the screen to stay clean, and so that this juicer works very efficiently. Creates a low amount of heat, so there's not a lot of stuff that's gonna ruin your juice for you. And that's really important, because you want your juice to be quality. Your centrifugal juicers are good. Make no mistake, you're still going to get good juice out of them, but you're getting a much higher quality juice out of this. And that's just a difference. For me, convenience and time is real important, but certainly people want to know what these are. So I'm going to just kind of get into that for you real quick. Basically, this one it's lined up, it's got dots that kind of tell you how this thing goes together. It's a little bit different than the others in that respect. So this guy kind of goes on, locks into place, and then has a secondary piece that goes over the top. And that piston, like I said, is locked in there. So once this piece is put together, it all locks into one section and it's ready to go. Now, this one comes with a couple of catches, one for the juice, and so you can measure the juice, and the other one is to catch the pulp on the other side. So just depending on what you're doing, I mean, this guy could serve you in a lot of different ways. I like this juicer. It's just not really super convenient for my day-to-day use, because unless I'm making a lot of juice all at one time, this one's not going to be fast enough for me. Sometimes in the morning I just got to go, and I like a certain amount of I like juice, kind of fast. and you get a little bit more pulp in a centrifugal juicer. This one's going to dry it out pretty quick. I'm also going to show you later on how to use this and a centrifugal juicer or Vitamix to make almond milk or to make coconut milk, because there's a way to do that so that it doesn't really make it hard on you, and you can get it right from the natural source, have it available to you. These juices, they say you can use them up to 3 days from the time they're made. I would again say use them as fast as you can, a day or two, but because once you juice them and you take out the micronutrients, those phytonutrients begin their breakdown process. So you're going to see this kind of clip in and out. I'm not going to show you how to do every single vegetable, whatever, so that you guys don't have to, be bored through that. So I'm going to basically start this machine off and then kind of give you kind of a walkthrough. I'm kind of a clean freak about food and dishes, and I don't really like a lot of stuff touching them, so everything's been pre-cleaned so that you guys get a handle on seeing it. So this is a little bit louder than the other one, so if you hate the sound, you might want to turn down your volume a little bit. It's not, like I said, it's not super silent. So let's start off with a couple of bigger things. Let's start off with some celery, for example. And so let's take some celery stalks. And this guy says it's a self-feeding shoot. And basically you'll see that guy, see the juice already coming out, and you should see some pulp. These Omega Verts are really, really good machines. They're workhorses. These are warranted for like 10 years on the motor, so it's really a good machine. And this guy feeds pretty easily. And as you can see, the stuff that's coming out of here is pretty dry, and the quality of the juice that's coming out is pretty high. And I'm not going to bore you with going through all of this stuff. I'm going to do some of these. I'm going to clip out for a second. I'm going to come back and I'll show you a different kind of vegetable, soft ones, hard ones, that kind of thing, so you kind of get a view. They're not really that slow. It's pretty quick, but it's not as fast as your centrifugals. But you can hear this guy going to town. And like I said, this is a self-feeding. You'll need the pusher, and I wouldn't suggest you feeding anything into this with your fingers or anything like that. If it doesn't go in by itself, you'll want to use a pusher. Just only use the pusher. It's just what that's designed for. They know what it's there. They know what happens if you get your finger stuck in there. So I'm going to clip out for a second. We'll come back and we'll do something else in a minute.